Everybody. Welcome to today's video. I had a request, and yes, I do take requests, to talk about the gilded leafing and some different ways that we can use that. So, just to remind you about what it is, a couple of, maybe a month or so ago, we used it on our flamingo card here. So it just gives kind of a pop of elegance or gold, color or whatever to a card. So it comes like this, and it's in a jar. And the one thing you want to do is make sure that you don't have any fans on or air conditioning vents blowing right on you or anything, because this is it's very light and it will blow away. You'll see as I'm working on it, little bits will go everywhere. So when you open it, it's kind of all packed down in there. So if you're only going to be using it on a small area, you might want to put some in just a small container like I have here. Or if you're going to be using it like we're going to today on a bigger piece of paper, then you might want to put some in here. Okay, but you can see, I'll just take some more out. You can see, I mean, I've had a whole bunch out of here and it looks like it just keeps multiplying, but it's just very, very fly away. Okay, so just be careful not to have any fans or anything on. Okay, so just in general, what you need is something to make this stick. Right, so we used on this one, we used the double-sided tape. I just put pieces of tape here, put them down, and then added the leafing on top of that. You can use our adhesive sheets. We do still have these in the catalog. They come like this. They're 6 by 12. And you can cut pieces off of there. And this is just like a big, huge piece of double-sided tape. So then you can take that and cut it in different shapes or do, various things with it. And I'm going to show you a little bit of that today. You can use, we still have embossing paste. Do you know how you use the embossing paste with the stencils? So you can do that. And once the paste is down and tacky, almost dry, you can add the leafing to it. You can use, I demonstrated once before, the heat and stick powder where you emboss, but the powder stays tacky, kind of sticky once it starts to dry. And as long as it's still tacky, you can add the gold leafing to it. If you have a glue, we used to have the two-way glue gun, and that would stay tacky even after it was dry. So you could use that if you have a tacky glue, or you can use the green glue. I'm going to show you how to do that today. You just need to do it before it dries. So let's get started. All right, so I'm gonna take this piece. This is the double-sided adhesive sheets. And I am going to add that to a piece of cardstock because I want it to be a little more sturdy. So I can just take the backing off of that. If I don't get it exactly straight, it's okay because, whoa, well, my hand moved. Let's see how sticky that is. Now this one's not going to come out real well because I messed it up, but we'll try this again. You can always trim this after you're done, so it doesn't matter if it's exactly even. And I just took off one piece of the backing at a time instead of the whole thing. I still messed it up when I was taking it off. Okay, so now this is like a big, huge piece of double-sided tape on this whole piece of cardstock. So then I can pull off the and even if there where I messed up, it's just a little piece, but this entire piece of paper is tacky. So then I am going to take it and I am going to just put some of this gold leafing powder all over. Just rub it around with my fingers until the whole thing is covered. Oops. And you see this just gets everywhere. It's easy to clean up, but You see, you can imagine if I had a fan on or something right now, this stuff would be blowing everywhere. So see, it's nice when you're using a double-sided adhesive like this, it doesn't dry. You know, like when you're using glue, you've got to be careful because if it dries, then this gold leafing's not going to stick to it anymore. So we just want to make sure to get the whole thing covered. And I will put the excess back in this little plastic container. I think that's the place where I didn't have any glue. Okay, so I'm just burnishing it, just rubbing it, you know, with my fingers, just to make sure that all the sticky is covered. Okay, now you can you see there's like pieces all sticking out? Right, so you're just going to start rubbing over that because we're going to be rubbing until it's all smooth. Just keep rubbing, taking off those excess pieces. You can see it even sticks to my hands. Okay, so now I don't know if you can see or not, it's still not smooth, you know, but I'm not getting a lot off now with my fingers anymore. So then I can take the piece of, let me just get this out of the way. I'm just going to take this back in here just to get it out of the way. And then if you'll take a stiff brush, or the other thing that works is an eraser. I'll show you both. And this is going to smooth it out. So this is getting off all of those pieces that are not stuck down to something. So see, can you see how it's starting to really get smooth? Okay, if you don't have a stiff brush, again, just taking an eraser lightly across the surface will also work. I had these stencil brushes that I've had for a long time, so I had a stiff brush, but I know a lot of people may not have that. So using an eraser works. You can see really well. And again, I'm just going to put all of this excess back in the little plastic container. I don't want to say Tupperware because it's not Tupperware, although that's what I usually call it. Okay, and just you have to just, you know, fuss with it a little bit until you get it where it's nice and smooth so that every piece of gold that's on there is stuck down. And I could keep going with my brush, or I could keep going with the eraser. You can see either one works just as well. Okay, now if you wanted to use just, you know, use that as a background without doing anything else to it, you certainly could, and then just add a focal point or some words or something to the front. So this is the piece that I was just working on, and here's a piece that I did before, and you can see, you know, it just got really nice and smooth. All right, so once that happened, I can then take my dies, okay, and I can cut it out, and I cut out from the poppies, I cut out the outline of the poppy and one of the leaves, okay, so then I just stamped some of the poppies on here and some words. And then I can add this on here. I can take some of this glue. Your silicone sheet is really good to do this with. Put some of this glue on the silicone sheet, and I had mine, and then before I was going on, I went to find it and I couldn't, and now even the sponge is gone that I was using. Oh, there it is. there's a sponge, but I don't know where the adhesive sheet is. And if you'll take, let me get this way over here, put some glue on it and then just sponge it on the back of your intricate die cuts. That will help it. Rather than trying to put glue directly on there. I'm going to be a gluey mess today, I have a feeling. Okay. And then I also had cut one of these leaves. And I just drew the stem in on this one because this one doesn't have a stem with the stamps. But I just wanted to show you it's fun sometimes if you stamp and then take your gold leafing to make a piece that's going to be an accent. Okay, so then I could add that to the front of a card. So that's one way you could use it. You could just do a whole sheet like here, and then you could cut some pieces out of it. Okay, now the other thing that you could do is, I'm going to do a pineapple. When it was still like this before I put any of the leafing on it, you can also cut something out. So that's what I did here. I cut out pineapple. There's a little piece of escapee. So again, this was on the, the black cardstock. Doesn't have to be black. That's just what I chose to use. And there's a piece that didn't pop out. Okay, so now when I take off the front, the backing that's on the front, the layer that protects it, I'll be just left with sticky. It's all over. Oh, that didn't want to come off right there. Okay. All right, so before I stick this on the card, then I'm going to cover it in leafing as well. I'm just going to put this one face down. And take up, see how it's all covered? And then I can again burnish it around with my fingers. And it will only stick where we had the sticky paper. Maybe I'll try this, using it on here. And then I can either take my brush or my eraser. Did I miss another little piece of tape on that side? It looks like it, doesn't it? There we go. Get that off. And you can see as I'm taking it off, these pieces get finer and finer. They're not the big flakes like this that you start with, but it's okay because they still stick. Here's my eraser. That also works on here. So either the eraser or the stiff brush. I love this pineapple, and I think this pineapple and gold is even really more I'm not sorry, we were talking more amazing. Okay, so let's put this out of the way. And then see, I could attach that right on the front of the card. And I can you can keep working it to make sure that all of the little flyaway pieces are gone, but I don't want to spend a ton of time while you're watching. But see how easy that is just to put that on there and make a really cool pineapple with that. Okay, so another thing that we sell are the foam sheets. So here is they're like dimensionals, but it's a whole sheet, and you can die cut those. So I thought it would be cool to make kind of like a Christmas card. And this way, instead of the tree being flat, it's going to have a dimension to it. So again, let me bring this over here because this is, remember when you take off the the front on the dimensional, this is sticky. So it can be used just like we would use the two-sided adhesive. I think I got enough on there. And I'm just pressing it down to make sure that it's stuck all to the This makes kind of a mess, but it's so worth it because it's so pretty. And it's more, the gold embossing powder is nice. But sometimes you want like these, like a bigger area, or some people don't have embossing powder. So, they don't have the embossing. My brush is so old, the tip is falling off. They don't have the embossing gun, the heat gun, and, all the things to do that. So you can still absolutely use the gilding flakes, even if you don't have the heat gun. And again, you can take your eraser or your stiff brush and just move that out of the way. And then I can take the adhesive off the back. I'm going to work on it a little more and put on there. Isn't that pretty? And then put my salutation, whether it be Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays or whatever we're going to put there. Okay, so here, another way, I have these, what do you call them? Snow globes. Okay, and when it comes, the adhesive is all around here so that you could put like a border of some kind on there. But instead, I just took the adhesive and laid down my flakes, and then I used some of the flakes inside of the snow globe. So instead of using, sometimes we use glitter or whatever, you could also use the flakes in there to give that kind of a cool look. Okay, I made a swap card for a group that I was doing where I just took some of our paper and I just wanted to add a little bit of gold leafing here and there. So to do that, this is the paper. It's already got its it's the textured paper. So all I did was to take a little bit of the green glue and just put that on there. Now, the green glue does not dry tacky. It dries clear and hard. So to do this, you would have to put the flakes on there while it's still wet, and then you're going to have to sit it aside and let it dry. And then once it's dry, you take your brush or your eraser and take off everything else, and you'll be left just with the little areas of gold. Okay, I'll just leave that to dry. Okay, still making quite the mess. But that's okay, because I'll clean it up later. All right, now, let's say you want to use this whole thing. You can run it through an embossing folder, just like this. And I did. Now, I will tell you, if you're going to run it through, your best bet is to take a piece of paper and add to it. Otherwise, all this gold flakes can get inside your embossing folder. But I ran it through the seabed. Can you see this? It is just absolutely beautiful. So now I could just add that to the front of a card, add my greeting, and be done with it. All right, so that you can run it through any embossing folder. So that was just this, run through an embossing folder. All right, but if you wanted to take it one step further to kind of give it an antique-y look and get it to pop, you can take your StazOn and you can just run it over, and it's going to pick up on the raised areas. I don't want to get it down, in the cracks and crevices or anything, but, excuse me. I wanted to show you. Can you see how it picked up? So that can give you another pop. Excuse me. So all you need is something sticky to make the embossing, the gilded flakes work. All right, so you can use double-sided tape if you just want something that's straight. You know, you just want to do one accent line. All right, you can use the adhesive sheets, and from those you can die cut. You can either die cut and then put the flakes on like we did here, or you can die cut, or you can put the flakes on and then die cut it. Either way works. You can use them as your inside of the snow globe if you wanted to use that instead of glitter. You can use it on the foam sheets, just die cut those and then do it. And you can even use it with the green glue. You've just got to use it before it dries and then wait for it to dry and then wipe the excess off. So again, remember, once you put all the gold on there, you either take you burnish it with your finger and then either take a stiff brush or an eraser. Doesn't matter what kind of eraser, doesn't have to be this kind. And get all of the excess off and put that back in your container. So I hope maybe this has given you a few ideas about how you could use your embossing flakes, and you can see your gilded flakes, and you can see what a beautiful accent they add to the cards. So I hope that you try these and that you have a great day. Thanks.